My wife humiliated me in front of the judge and declared, "This man is so broke he can't even hire an attorney." What she didn't realize was my plan. She believed she had completely defeated me. She was wrong. The door burst open. A woman dressed in white walked into the room. The entire courtroom fell silent as a grave, and that's when everything changed. Let me rewind to the moment this nightmare began. Hello and welcome. Please like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Note this story contains dramatized elements for entertainment and education. Any resemblance to real people or places is coincidental, but the message is entirely true. I've been sitting at this table for 20 minutes memorizing every scratch in the oak. Anything to keep from looking across the aisle at where my life fell apart. 50 years old. Divorce court. Alone. The suit I'm wearing is 15 years old, the same one I wore to my father's funeral. Frayed cuffs, thin elbows, but it's clean. I pressed it last night in that Dorchester efficiency with the water-stained ceiling. My hands shake as I straighten the single manila folder in front of me. No briefcase, no lawyer. Just a social worker who spent 25 years helping others now unable to help himself. Across from me, Sabrina radiates victory in her designer suit. Next to her sits Silas Brentwood, the kind of shark whose hourly rate could feed families for months. And beside Sabrina, too, close lounges some younger guy in an expensive Italian suit, polished, confident, whispering things that make her smile. That smile cuts deeper than any blade. I force myself to look back at the gallery. That's when my heart shatters. Emily sits 3 rows back, 17 years old, my daughter. On Sabrina's side of the courtroom, refusing to meet my eyes, even my own child. All rise. Judge Warren Blackstone enters, black robes swirling. He's got a reputation, efficient, no nonsense, a man who's seen too many broken families to care about one more. Be seated. Case number 24-DV0718. Langley versus Cole. Silas Brentwood stands smoothly. Your Honor, the defendant has failed to retain legal representation despite multiple opportunities. The judge's eyes find me. Mr. Cole, you have no attorney? I stand. No, Your Honor? Can't afford one. Sabrina's voice carries across the aisle. He's a social worker, Your Honor. Makes $50,000 a year working with losers and addicts. I feel Emily behind me. I don't turn around. Can't. Mrs. Langley, you'll have your opportunity, the judge warns. Mr. Cole, without counsel, you're at a severe disadvantage. He doesn't understand complex finances, Your Honor. Sabrina's false concern makes my jaw clench. This is beyond him. Every word designed to make me look incompetent. Useless. Your Honor, Brentwood presses. Given his lack of representation, I move for default judgment. 7 months, and he shows up with nothing. Judge Blackstone sighs a sound I've heard before from people who've seen this story too many times. Mr. Cole, I cannot delay indefinitely. He reaches for his gavel. Given the circumstances, I close my eyes. 50 years old, about to lose everything while my daughter watches. I'm sorry, Emmy. I tried. I hereby rule. Boom. The sound cracks through the courtroom like thunder. My eyes snap open. The double doors have exploded inward. Everyone turns. Standing in the doorway is a woman in white. Late 70s, silver hair sharp as glass, eyes like ice. Power suit so pristine it glows against the dark wood. She doesn't walk in. She commands it. Behind her, someone carries briefcases like a soldier. The click of expensive heels echoes in dead silence as she strides down the center aisle toward the judge. My breath stops. I know that walk. I know those eyes. 20 years of silence. 20 years of believing she was gone forever. My mother has come home. Time stops. 1 second the judge's gavel is falling. The next she's here. I can't breathe. Last night at midnight I finally broke. Sat on the floor of that Dorchester apartment with my phone in shaking hands, staring at the number I swore I'd never dial again. The number I'd memorized but never called in 20 years. I called. Through tears I sent her everything. Screenshots of Sabrina's texts, calling me pathetic. Bank statements showing money I never knew existed. Photos of the affair I'd tried to pretend wasn't happening. Proof of 7 years of systematic destruction. I didn't think she'd come, but here she is. She moves down that aisle like she owns it. White suit, immaculate silver hair, sharp as glass, those ice blue eyes that used to terrify corporate lawyers. Behind her, a younger woman carries briefcases with military precision. The click of Mom's heels is the only sound. I try to stand. Can't. Across the aisle, Silas Brentwood has gone white. His voice cracks. That's impossible. Mom reaches my table. For 1 second she looks at me, really looks, and I see it. The regret, the love that 20 years couldn't kill. Her hand touches my shoulder, light but steady. I should have come sooner, she says quietly. Then she turns to Judge Blackstone. Your Honor, I apologize for the delay. Her voice fills the courtroom. I'm entering my appearance as counsel for the defendant. She hands a card to the bailiff. Rosalind Thorne, senior managing partner at Bennett Crown in Sterling, Washington, D.C. Judge Blackstone leans forward. Recognition dawns. Ms. Thorne? The Rosalind Thorne. Supreme Court Bar. The same, Your Honor. Whispers explode. Sabrina leans toward Silas. Who the hell is she? Mom turns back to me, her hand still on my shoulder. I'm also his mother. Mom. It barely comes out. Behind me, Emily's voice cracks. Dad has a mother? I never told her. How could I explain that my mother was a legal legend who disowned me for choosing social work? Sabrina shoots up. His mother is alive, a Supreme Court attorney. Her confidence cracking. He told me she was dead. I said estranged. I manage. You assumed. Ms. Thorne. The judge clears his throat. You're admitted in Massachusetts. New York, California, D.C., and federal courts. I filed pro hac vice at 7 this morning. He finds the motion. Granted. Proceed. Mom's hand tightens on my shoulder, the only sign she's feeling anything. Then she steps forward. Your Honor, I want to be clear. Her voice drops conversational. I'm not here to negotiate. I am not here to compromise. She looks directly at Sabrina and Silas. I'm here to take everything. That smile crosses her face. Predator finding prey. She snaps open her briefcase, pulls out thick folders that hit the table like a gavel. Thud. Around us, the courtroom holds its breath. And me, I'm 50 years old, and my mother just walked back into my life like an avenging angel. She came, after everything she came. Mom doesn't waste time. She spreads documents across our table like a general planning war. Bank statements, wire transfers, corporate filings, each page color-coded, each number highlighted. She built an entire case while I was sitting in that Dorchester apartment, thinking I was alone. Your Honor, her voice cuts like a scalpel. Mrs. Langley filed a sworn affidavit claiming net worth of $10 million. Pause. Let it sink in. That's a lie. Sabrina stiffens. Silas whispers something sharp. She shakes her head. Mom slides papers toward the bailiff. My forensic accountants trace $32 million in offshore accounts. Shell companies in the Cayman Islands and Cyprus. Money deliberately hidden during marriage. $32 million? I can't breathe. I'm sitting here in a 15-year-old suit, and she has $32 million stashed overseas. Those are business investments. Sabrina's voice climbs. Marital assets. Mom doesn't look at her. Deliberately concealed. Felony fraud, Your Honor. She's not done. Additionally, $3 million in cryptocurrency. Cold storage wallet. Another document. Chase Bank safety deposit box. Mrs. Langley accessed it 6 times this year. $35 million total. We've been married 7 years. She made me feel like a failure for making $50,000 while hiding $35 million. Judge Blackstone leans forward, anger building. Mrs. Langley, you signed this affidavit under oath. You forgot $35 million. My accountant handles. Sabrina's cracking like ice. Your accountant will be subpoenaed. Mom's tone could freeze fire. These transactions bear your digital signature. Every wire transfer, or every crypto purchase. Your name. Silas finds his voice. Your Honor, we need time to review. 7 months since filing. Mom cuts him off. Time's up. I'm watching like it's happening to someone else. This woman destroying Sabrina with surgical precision is my mother. The same woman who told me social work was throwing my life away, and she's winning. The prenuptial agreement, Mom continues almost casual, is void. Non-disclosure of assets constitutes fraud in the inducement. Sabrina grabs Silas's arm. He's sweating now, dark patches under his expensive suit. Judge Blackstone flips through evidence page after page. Ms. Thorne, if these allegations are proven, they're proven, Your Honor. Mom taps the documents. Bank records don't lie. Blockchain transactions are immutable. The money exists. Mrs. Langley hid it. Dead silence except the paper rustling. I glance back. Emily's staring at Sabrina like her mother just became a stranger. Mom pulls another folder, thicker, sets it down with deliberate care. But financial fraud isn't the worst of it, Your Honor. Her voice drops, gets colder. Let's discuss the affair, the abuse, the systematic destruction of my son's dignity. She opens the folder. Photographs slide out. Text messages. Credit card statements. I see it's Sabrina and that younger guy at a beach house, his arm around her. Timestamp 8 months ago. My stomach drops. Mrs. Langley has conducted an extramarital affair for 18 months. Mom's voice is clinical now. She's spent over $500,000 of marital funds on her boyfriend. Gifts, travel, real estate, $500,000 on him, while I clipped coupons for groceries. More evidence, photos, receipts, a deed to a Malibu house I've never seen. Text messages I can read from here, even upside down. Once I divorce the social worker, we'll have everything. Sabrina's crumbling. Silas looks ready to run, and me somewhere past the shock, past the betrayal that should hurt more than it does. I feel something I haven't felt in months. Hope. Mom glances at me, just for a second. Her expression doesn't change, but I see it in her eyes. I've got you, son. 20 years of silence. And she walked back in like an avenging angel. Mom's not finished destroying Sabrina. Not even close. Your Honor, before we discuss stolen money, let's discuss who my son actually is. She turns, slightly, looks directly at me. Something passes between us. Pride, maybe. Or gratitude that I finally asked for help. Adrian Cole is a social worker. 25 years helping domestic violence survivors escape abusers. Foster children finding safe homes. People recovering from addiction, rebuilding lives. My throat tightens. She's describing my work like it matters. He makes $50,000 annually. Not from lack of intelligence, Your Honor, because he chose compassion over profit. Mom pulls out her phone, the same one I'd sent desperate screenshots to at midnight, and connects it to the courtroom display. Text messages fill the screen big enough for everyone to read. My private humiliation now public evidence. Sabrina to Adrian. You work with losers and addicts. Pathetic. Sabrina to Adrian. You're 50 and make $50K. You're a failure. Sabrina to Adrian. I deserve better than a social worker husband. Each message lands like a punch. I remember getting those texts at 2 a.m, wondering what I'd done wrong, why I wasn't enough. Financial abuse. Mom continues clinical. Mrs. Langley cut off Mr. Cole's credit cards, controlled household money, made him ask permission for groceries. Bank statements appear copies of ones I'd photographed and sent her. Mr. Cole paid $1,700 monthly in child support, 40% of gross income. Mrs. Langley, making $500,000 annually, kept it for herself. I glance back. Emily's staring at the screen, face white. Public humiliation. Now there's video playing. That charity gala last year. On screen, Sabrina introduces me to colleagues. This is my husband. He's a social worker. How quaint. Laughter ripples. I watch myself smile, that tight, painful smile. The camera catches Sabrina's satisfaction. She enjoyed it. Character witnesses. Mom's voice softens. Maria from the women's shelter. Adrian Cole saved my life and my daughter's. Without him, we'd be dead. My supervisor, James. 25 years, over 300 families helped. Best social worker I've known. I'm crying. Can't help it. The affair? Mom says. Display changes. Photographs I'd found on Sabrina's laptop last month. The ones that made me finally break down and call Mom. Sabrina and that younger guy at a beach house. Laughing. Kissing. Mrs. Langley purchased this Malibu property 18 months ago. $2 million. She's transferred $500,000 to her boyfriend since then. Receipts. Tiffany's bracelet, $45,000. Private jet to Cabo, $60,000. Text messages appear recovered from Sabrina's cloud backup by Mom's forensic team overnight. Sabrina to boyfriend. Once I divorce the pathetic social worker, we'll have everything. He's too weak to fight back. Too weak. She thought I was too weak. Mrs. Langley is 42, Mom states. Married my son at 35 when he was 43. She saw him as a project. When she realized he didn't need fixing, that he was exactly who he wanted to be, she decided he was worthless. The words cut, but they're true. Your Honor, Sabrina's voice cracks. This is character assassination. It's evidence? Mom cuts her off. Every text my son sent me. Every receipt his forensic accounting revealed. Every cruel word documented. Systematic abuse over 7 years. I feel exposed. Raw. But also seen. Silas Brentwood shoots to his feet, desperate. Your Honor, I'd like to call a witness. Emily Cole. No. The name hits like a bullet. I turn. Emily's standing face unreadable. She won't look at me. Mom's hand covers mine briefly, steady grounding, but nothing can ground me for this. Emily walks toward the witness stand, and I realize this is going to hurt worse than anything Sabrina's done, because this time the knife comes from someone I love. Officer Hernandez holds out the Bible. Emily's hand trembles slightly as she places her palm on the worn leather cover. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. I do. Her voice is steady, but I hear the tremor underneath. Silas approaches the witness stand with that predatory smile of his, the one that makes my skin crawl. He's gentle with her, almost fatherly. It makes me sick. Please state your name and age for the record. Emily Cole. I'm 17. And you're the daughter of Adrian Cole and Sabrina Langley, correct? Yes. She still won't look at me. Her eyes are fixed somewhere over Silas's shoulder, carefully avoiding the defense table where I sit with Mom beside me. Emily, can you tell the court about your father's career? She glances at Sabrina just for a second and I see it. The silent command. The invisible leash. He's a social worker. He makes about $50,000 a year. The way she says it. Like it's an apology. Like it's something shameful. And how do you feel about that? Emily shifts in her seat, her designer dress, Sabrina's purchase of course rustling softly. Honestly, it's embarrassing. My friends' dads are doctors, lawyers, executives. My dad works with homeless people and drug addicts. The words land like physical blows, each syllable a knife twisting deeper. Emmy, I whisper, but she doesn't even flinch. He can't afford nice restaurants or vacations. Mom pays for everything, my school, my car, my clothes, everything. Silas nods sympathetically as if he actually cares. Do you believe your father can adequately provide for you? No, she says it without hesitation. He can't. He lives in this tiny apartment in Dorchester. If I lived with him, I'd have to sleep on the couch. I'm crying now. I can't help it. Silent tears stream down my face, and I don't even try to wipe them away. What's the point? Which parent would you prefer to live with? My mother? Definitely. Emily's voice is firm now, stronger. Mom's successful. She can give me the life I deserve. Dad can't provide anything. Silas pauses, letting that sink in. The courtroom is silent except for the quiet sound of my breathing, ragged and uneven. Emily, do you love your father? She freezes. For the first time since taking the stand, real emotion flickers across her face. Confusion, conflict, something I can't quite name. I guess I do, but love doesn't pay for college, does it? Mom has $200,000 saved for my education. Dad has, nothing. The courtroom spins, my vision blurs. I grip the edge of the table so hard my knuckles turn white. Thank you, Emily. No further questions. Silas returns to his seat, satisfied. Mission accomplished. Sabrina's smile is radiant. She leans back in her chair, her hand resting on the arm of the well-dressed man beside her, the one she's been parading around like a trophy. Victory is written all over her face. Emily remains on the stand, her hands gripping the armrests. Her knuckles are white, just like mine. For a moment, just a moment, I see the little girl who used to climb into my lap after a bad dream. The daughter who believed I could fix anything. Judge Blackstone clears his throat. Mr. Cole, do you wish to cross-examine the witness? I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. How could I question my own daughter? How could I make this worse than it already is? Before I can respond, Mom rises beside me, her white suit immaculate, her expression carved from ice. I do your honor, the judge nods. Proceed, Ms. Thorne. Mom's heels click against the marble floor as she approaches the witness stand. Emily's eyes widen. She wasn't expecting this. Neither was Sabrina, whose smile falters for the first time. Mom stops a few feet from Emily, her gaze steady and unflinching. Emily, she says softly, her voice carrying across the silent courtroom. I have just a few questions for you. Emily swallows hard. Yes, ma'am. Mom tilts her head slightly, studying her granddaughter with those sharp blue eyes that miss nothing. Let's start with something simple, shall we? Miss Cole, she begins, her voice calm. I'm Rosalind Thorne. I'm your grandmother. Emily's eyes widen. I didn't know Dad had a mother. Your father and I were estranged. That was my fault, not his. But I'm here now. The courtroom is silent. Even Silas looks uncertain. Mom continues, her tone still gentle. You called your father useless. Do you actually know what he does? Emily shifts uncomfortably. He helps poor people or something. Your father helps domestic violence survivors escape their abusers. He helps foster children find safe homes. He helps people recover from addiction and rebuild their lives. Mom pauses. Does that sound useless to you? I didn't mean it like that. You said your father can't afford nice restaurants. Do you know why? Emily's voice is small. Because he doesn't make enough money. Mom slides a folder across the rail toward the witness stand. Because he spent everything on you, Emily. The monitor behind the judge flickers to life. Bank statements fill the screen. $1,700 every month in child support. Over 40% of his pre-tax income. He paid for your braces, summer camps, prom dresses. Emily's hands grip the armrests tighter. And this. Mom gestures to another document. $200 every single month into a college fund for 17 years. That's $40,000 your father saved for you. Emily's eyes fill with tears. I didn't know. Your mother never told you, did she? Emily shakes her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. Mom's voice sharpens just slightly. You said love doesn't pay for college. Your father has $40,000 waiting for you. Your mother, who makes 10 times what he does, has how much in your college fund? She said 200,000. Mom pulls out another document, holding it up for the judge. She has 50,000. And it's not a savings account, it's a bribe. The screen changes. Text messages between Sabrina and Emily appear time-stamped over the past 3 weeks. Sabrina, if you want to keep your car, support me in court. Sabrina, Dad winning means no more private school. Sabrina, I'll cut you off if you side with him. Sabrina, tell the judge he's useless. I'll give you $50,000 after we win. Judge Blackstone leans forward, his expression thunderous. Is this accurate, Miss Cole? Emily sobs, her shoulders shaking. Yes. Mom said if I didn't say Dad was useless, she'd take my car, cancel my credit cards, pull me out of Brookline. That's not what... Sabrina shoots to her feet. Sit down, Mrs. Langley. The judge's voice echoes through the courtroom. Sabrina drops back into her chair, her face white with fury. Mom turns back to Emily, her voice softer now. Emily, do you really think your father is useless? No. Emily's voice breaks completely. I was just so scared. Mom made me practice what to say over and over. One last question. Mom steps closer. Look at your father. Emily slowly turns toward me. Our eyes meet across the courtroom. I'm crying. I can't help it. My heart is shattered, bleeding, but I don't look away. I don't let her see anything but love. Not anger, not blame. Just love and forgiveness. And pain. Does he look like a man who hates you? Mom asks quietly. Or does he look like a man whose heart you just broke? Emily's face crumples. Daddy, you still love me? Her lips tremble. She opens her mouth to speak. Your honor. Silas jumps to his feet, desperate. I'd like to redirect. Judge Blackstone sighs. Make it brief, Mr. Brentwood. Silas glances at Emily's still trembling tears, streaming then at the gallery, where dozens of faces stare back with sympathy and disgust. Not for Emily, for Sabrina. He changes tactics. Actually, Your Honor, I'd like to call another witness. Jasper Finn to the stand. Emily steps down unsteadily, returning to the gallery. Sabrina grabs her arm as she passes tight warning. A man rises from beside Sabrina, adjusting his expensive suit. He's younger than me by at least 15 years, handsome in that polished, calculated way. He walks toward the witness stand with easy confidence. Mom returns to her seat beside me, her expression unreadable. Who is that? I whisper. Your wife's boyfriend, she murmurs. Watch closely. Officer Hernandez holds out the Bible. The man places his hand on the worn leather without hesitation, his expression confident. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. I do. Silas approaches with an encouraging smile. Please state your name and occupation for the record. Jasper Finn. I'm CEO of Finn Capital Ventures, a technology investment firm. And how do you know Mrs. Langley? We've been close friends for about 18 months. Have you met Mr. Cole? Once briefly. He seemed unstable, quick to anger. I worried for Sabrina's safety. I gripped the table edge. That's a lie. We've never met. In your professional opinion, does Mrs. Langley seem responsible? Absolutely. She's brilliant. A true leader. No further questions. Jasper leans back satisfied. Sabrina smiles at him. Mom rises slowly, her movements deliberate. I have a few questions, Mr. Finn. Of course. You stated you're CEO of Finn Capital Ventures. That's correct. Mom tilts her head. Interesting. The Secretary of State has no record of Finn Capital Ventures registered in any state. Can you explain that? Jasper shifts. It's registered offshore, incorporated in Delaware. Delaware has no record either. Neither does the IRS. Sweat appears on his forehead. Our attorneys handle... You mentioned a Stanford MBA in conversations with Mrs. Langley, didn't you? I never said... Mom slides a document to the judge. Text messages between you and Mrs. Langley. You claimed an MBA from Stanford class of 2018? She pauses. Stanford has no record of you, Mr. Finn. A federal warrant appears on the screen, but the FBI does. Is this you, Mr. Webb? Jasper's face drains of color. Your real name is Marcus Webb, 30 years old, wanted in 3 states for fraud. The screen fills with police reports. California 2019 defrauded a real estate heiress of $300,000. Nevada 2021 conned a tech widow out of $450,000. Massachusetts 2023 to present currently extracting money from Mrs. Langley. Mom turns to Sabrina, whose expression has shifted from triumph to horror. Mrs. Langley has given you $500,000 over 18 months. You're a professional con artist who targets wealthy women. This is insane. Marcus half rises. and that I'm a legitimate businessman. Fingerprints don't lie, Mr. Webb. The FBI confirmed a match this morning. The courtroom doors swing open. 2 FBI agents stride down the aisle, badges visible. Marcus Webb, you're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy to commit federal fraud. Marcus bolts from the witness stand. Officer Hernandez intercepts him. Handcuffs click. You used me? Sabrina's voice cracks. You lied to me. Marcus twists in the agent's grip. I love you, baby. This is a mistake. I gave you $500,000. The agents drag him toward the exit. The gallery erupts in whispers. From her seat beside Sabrina, Emily watches everything collapse. Her mother screaming, her mother's boyfriend in handcuffs. Everything she thought she knew shattering. Her hands grip the bench knuckles white. Then she stands. Your Honor. Her voice cuts through the noise. I need to say something. Judge Blackstone looks at her surprised. Miss Cole, you don't have to. I want to please. The courtroom falls silent. Every eye turns to my daughter. The judge nods. The court recognizes Miss Cole. Emily trembles. Tears stream down her face. I lied. Mom made me lie. She bribed me $50,000. She said if I didn't call Dad useless, she'd ruin my life. Her voice breaks. Dad's not useless. He's the most caring person I've ever known. I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm so sorry. She pushes past. Sabrina stumbles into the aisle and runs toward me. I stand just as she reaches me, catching her as she collapses into my arms. Shh, baby girl. I've got you. I forgive you. I always will. We hold each other, both sobbing. The courtroom is silent, except for our tears. Judge Blackstone's voice cuts through the quiet, sharp, and final. Mrs. Langley, you brought a wanted criminal into my courtroom as a character witness. You coerced your own daughter to commit perjury. He raises his gavel. Type 1 below so I can see you're still here. Quick disclaimer, this account includes dramatized content created to inspire and educate. If it's not for you, feel free to find something that fits better. Judge Blackstone surveys the courtroom, his expression carved from stone. Emily clings to me. Sabrina sits alone. Silas Brentwood has moved as far from her as possible. In 30 years on this bench, I've witnessed many acts of depravity. But what I've seen today... The judge shakes his head. Mrs. Langley, you committed fraud. You concealed $35 million in marital assets. You bribed your own 17-year-old daughter to commit perjury. You coached that child to call her father useless in open court. You paraded a wanted felon as a character witness. You weaponized your daughter in a divorce proceeding. This isn't just betrayal. This is child abuse. Sabrina opens her mouth. Your Honor, you will not speak unless I ask you a direct question. The courtroom is deathly silent. I'm immediately freezing all assets belonging to Sabrina Langley, including offshore accounts. I am granting full custody of Emily Cole to Adrian Cole, effective immediately. Mrs. Langley will have supervised visitation only 2 hours per week, pending psychological evaluation. Mrs. Langley will pay child support of $5,000 monthly. The $50,000 bribe is forfeited and will be placed in a trust for Emily's education controlled by Mr. Cole. Emily's grip on me tightens. Mrs. Langley will pay all legal fees for both parties. I am awarding Mr. Cole the Boston penthouse, the Malibu beach house, the Beverly Hills property, and 60% of all liquid assets. Me, Mrs. Langley has 48 hours to vacate all properties. She may take only personal clothing and toiletries. Sabrina's face has gone white. I am referring this case to the district attorney for criminal prosecution fraud, perjury, child abuse, and witness tampering. I am also referring Mrs. Langley to the Massachusetts Board of Professional Licensing for ethics violations. Mom rises slowly. Your Honor, if I may. Judge Blackstone nods. Ms. Thorne. Mom turns to Sabrina, her voice calm and surgical. You called my son pathetic. You said he was useless. You mocked him for earning $50,000 helping vulnerable people. But you're 42 years old, and you fell for a con artist half your age. You gave a criminal $500,000. You lost your daughter's respect. You destroyed your own reputation. So I ask you, Mrs. Langley, who's pathetic here? The social worker with integrity, or the executive with nothing left? Sabrina says nothing. Judge Blackstone raises his gavel. This court is adjourned. The crack echoes through the courtroom like thunder. I hold Emily, both of us, crying tears of relief this time. Mom's hand rests on my shoulder. Emily reaches out, taking Mom's hand. 3 generations. Together. Sabrina sits alone, tears streaming down her face. Silas is gone. Emily looks up at me. Can we go home, Dad? Yeah, baby girl. We can go home. Mom smiles the first real smile I've seen in 20 years. We walk toward the exit together. Behind us, Sabrina remains alone, surrounded by the wreckage of her own making. 3 months later, sunlight streams down on a ribbon stretched across the entrance of a freshly renovated building in Dorchester. The sign above reads, New Horizons Support Center, serving survivors of domestic violence and financial abuse. Over 50 people crowd the sidewalk. I stand at the microphone, Emily beside me. Mom watches from behind us. 3 months ago, I stood in a courtroom with nothing. No money, no home, and I thought I'd lost my daughter. I was called useless, pathetic, a failure. But I learned something that day. Worth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in the lives we touch. I gesture toward the building. This center was funded by my divorce settlement. This isn't just my victory. It's a victory for everyone who's been told they're not enough. The crowd applauds. Emily takes the microphone. 3 months ago, I called my father useless. I said love couldn't pay for college. I was wrong. So wrong. Dad showed me what real wealth looks like. It's the single mom he helped escape her abuser. It's the teenager he got into rehab who's now 2 years sober. It's the foster kid he fought for who just graduated high school. I'm working here part-time now, and I'm applying to colleges for social work programs. Because my dad isn't useless. He's my hero. She throws her arms around me. We both cry. The crowd erupts in cheers. A woman steps forward. Mr. Cole saved my life. When my ex was hunting me, Mr. Cole found me emergency shelter. He believed me when no one else did. A man raises his hand. I was homeless, addicted, ready to die. Mr. Cole got me into treatment, helped me find work. I've been sober 6 months now. Mom approaches the microphone. I'm Rosalind Thorne, Adrian's mother. I was foolish to stay away from my son for so long. I've argued before the Supreme Court. I've won billions for clients. But my son's work, it matters more than anything I've ever done. She pauses. I'm semi-retiring. I'll be volunteering legal services pro bono for New Horizons, and I'm donating $1 million to the center's endowment. The crowd erupts. Mom and I really embrace for the first time in 20 years. 3 generations stand together. Rosalind in her mid-70s, me at 50, Emily at 18. We cut the ribbon. The doors open. People stream inside. Later I help a new client, a young woman with a black eye, terrified and shaking. You're safe now, I tell her gently. We're going to help you. You're not alone. Emily watches learning. Mom is in a conference room with another survivor drafting legal documents. They called me useless. Said I wasted my life helping people for $50,000 a year, but I'm the richest man I know. I got my daughter back. I got my mother back. And I have purpose. Compassion isn't weakness. Silence isn't surrender. And integrity always wins. Looking back, I realized God had a plan even when I couldn't see it. When I stood in that courtroom with nothing, when my daughter called me useless, I thought I'd lost everything. But God was preparing me for something greater. Here's what I learned. Don't let anyone measure your worth by your bank account. Don't let shame silence you when you're doing good work. Never let money corrupt what matters most, your integrity and your family. I spent 25 years helping people for $50,000 a year. People mocked me, but those grandpa stories I heard growing up taught me something true. Real wealth isn't counted in dollars. It's counted in lives changed. My grandfather used to say, Son, God doesn't judge us by our portfolio. He judges us by our compassion. If you're being belittled, controlled, or manipulated, please know this, you're not alone. Compassion isn't weakness. Those grandpa stories about standing firm in your values, they're true. God sees you. Your worth isn't defined by what someone else says. To anyone facing financial abuse or feeling like you're not enough, reach out. There are people who will believe you. There are resources built on those same grandpa stories that taught us kindness wins. Thank you for staying with me. If this resonated, comment 2 below so I know you're still here. Share this with someone who needs to hear they matter. Subscribe for more stories about resilience and faith. Quick note, this story contains dramatized elements created to inspire and educate. If it's not for you, find what speaks to your heart.